Hey guys, in today's video, I'm gonna be talking about Vexana, one of the strongest mages in the current meta. And we will also discuss how she works in full details, which includes her skills, passive, builds, emblems, along with some tips and tricks, so that you will be able to dominate and win every time you use her. So let's get started with the video. Vexana previously held the record for the lowest pick rate in ranked games, but now, she's one of the most picked heroes in Mythic rank and above. She's definitely one of the most successful revamped heroes in the game. And as always, in order to master a hero, one must understand how her passive works, so let's start with her passive. With the help of her passive, every time you hit an enemy with your basic attack or skills, they will be marked with your passive Nether touch. And the enemies that got marked with your passive will explode once they die, dealing 500 magic damage to nearby units. The mark will last for 5 seconds, and you can also mark minions and creeps with her passive, allowing you to easily clear the minion wave during the start of the game. And the targets that get affected by the explosion will also be marked with her passive. So make sure to take this to your advantage when using her. Now, let's talk about her first skill. With the help of her first skill, Vexana unleashes a deathly grasp in the target direction, dealing 200 magic damage in its path, and her first skill will stop once it hits an enemy hero. And once it hits an enemy, it will stop them in their tracks for a few seconds, dealing 200 magic damage. Her first skill is a great initiation skill, but it has a really thin hitbox and slow animation, making it really easy to miss. So before using it, you need to predict the enemy's movement, so that they won't be able to dodge your skill. Try casting this skill when the enemies are together. It will give you and your teammates an opening to land your other skills. You can also use this skill to check the bushes, and you can also use it to harass the enemies in the laning phase, as it can pass through the minions. Now, let's talk about her second skill. With the help of her second skill, Vexana marks a target location with the power of undead, and after a short delay, a blast will strike the area, dealing 580 magic damage to the enemy's hit. This is her bread and butter skill, so make sure to max this skill first. The skill curses anyone inside the circle, marking them with your passive, making it one of the best wave clear skills during the early game. So make sure to use it as much as possible during the early game, as it has a low cooldown duration. Now, let's talk about her ultimate. With the help of her ultimate, Vexana summons an eternal guard at the target location, dealing 500 magic damage to enemies and knocking them airborne for 0.8 seconds. After summoning the Eternal Guard, he will then join her in battle for 15 seconds. The Eternal Knight will remain on the battlefield even if you die, and will continue chasing down enemies until the ultimate duration has passed, or if it's killed. And the Eternal Guard will teleport behind you if you move away from its range, or you can manually do it once by tapping on the ultimate. Her ultimate is what makes her so dangerous. Most people usually end up taking her ultimate lightly, and they usually end up getting killed by the Eternal Guard before they even realize it. Plus it can also tank most of the attack during a team fight. But make sure to remember that the Eternal Guard does not gain attack speed nor penetration from Vexana's items. But it can gain HP and defense from Vexana's item, and it can also trigger the passive of Genius Wand and Guardian Helmet. And it can also activate aura item effects, such as Dominance Ice and Cursed Helmet, which makes it 10 times better. Now, let's talk about her builds. For her builds, you should prioritize items that give cooldown reduction and magic damage. For her boots, go for Arcane Boots for extra magic penetration. And for her first item, go for Enchanted Talisman. It will provide you with 20% cooldown reduction, along with 15% mana regeneration, which is really useful when using Vexana, as she needs a lot of mana. And for her second item, go for Glowing Wand for more magic damage and HP. And for her third item, go for Genius Wand for magic penetration, and Genius Wand will also reduce the magical defense of the enemies. Plus her ultimate Eternal Guard can also trigger the passive of Genius Wand, making it easier for you to finish off the enemies. And for her fourth item, go for Lightning Truncheon for more magic damage. And for her last item, you can choose between Holy Crystal and Blood Wings. Now, let's talk about her emblems and talents. For her emblem, the Mage emblem is the best, as it provides 30+ magic power, along with +8 magic penetration. And for her first talent, go for Agility. It will provide you with an extra 4% movement speed, which is useful as Vexana really lacks mobility. And for her second talent, you can choose between Bargain Hunter and Weapon Master. If you feel like her items are too expensive, then you should go for Bargain Hunter, as it reduces the cost of items by 95% of their base price. But if you want more damage, then you should go for Weapon Master. It will increase the magical power of your equipment, skills, and emblems by 5%. And for his core talent, go for Impure Rage. It will increase the damage of your skills. But you can also go for Lethal Ignition. It all comes down to your preference and playstyle. Now, let's talk about how to use her in a game. During the early game, make sure to unlock your second skill, as it has a low cooldown duration. Plus it's a good skill for clearing the minion wave. And after you finish clearing the first and second minion wave, if you see your tank rotating, then you should follow your tank and gank the side lanes, and that way, it'll be easier for your side laners. But make sure not to overstay in the other lanes, as you could lose your minions. So make sure to go back to your lane right after successfully ganking a lane. But if your ambush was unsuccessful while trying to gank the other lanes, then make sure to go back to your lane. Because most of the time, your gank will be unsuccessful, and the more time you waste in the side lanes, the more minions you will lose. And if you lose your early game minions, then you'll be behind in farm, and your level will also be low. So make sure to prioritize reaching level 4 as soon as possible. But if you're inexperienced in using Mage, then I'd recommend you to just keep farming until you reach level 4, and only rotate after you reach level 4. Because successfully ganking other lanes could help you reach level 4 faster, but unsuccessful ganks will only delay your farm and level. And make sure to keep an eye on the turtle. And once the turtle spawns, help your jungler take the turtle, because securing the turtle will give you extra gold and shield, and it will also benefit both you and your team. As a mage, you must prioritize helping your teammates as much as possible, especially during the early game. Remember that, the way you rotate and play during the early game will decide the outcome of the mid-game. So you must prioritize playing well during the early game. So your early game objectives should be ganking the side lanes, and helping your jungler take the turtle. Now, let's talk about her mid and late game. Starting from the mid game, you must play safe, and try not to feed. And make sure not to rotate alone, as the enemies could easily kill you if you rotate alone. And always try to stay behind your teammates during a fight, because you are the main damage dealer of your team. And if you die first, then it will only be harder for your teammates. And always use your first skill before using your other skills. Your first skill will help you land your other skills more easily. And during the late game, you need to have a good map sense. Because most of the time, enemies will be camping on the bushes in the mid lane, and they will try killing you first. Because you're the main damage dealer. Plus you are also the most squishy hero in your team, meaning they can pretty much one-shot you. So you need to keep that in mind and play safe. And make sure to always check the bushes with your second skill before entering a bush. And when your team is taking the Lord, make sure to use your ultimate, as the Eternal Guard can make it easier for your team to take the Lord. So, what do you think about Vexana? Make sure to leave your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, then make sure to leave a like, and consider subscribing to my channel for more videos like this. Thank you for watching.